Happy Friday. Happy Friday. And here we are on Friday. And I got a word for you on this morning. Good morning, everybody. It's time for Morning Manna. And we're still talking about Lent. We're still talking about Lent. I just want to drive that point home. We're going to be off and on about that all the way up to Resurrection Sunday. Why? Because so often we get to Easter, it's about a big meal with the family gathering. Nothing wrong with that. Great worship service. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. A great meal, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But the fact is, we oftentimes forget the power of it all. Paul said it best in Philippians. He says, unless you know him in the resurrection, you can't have the power of the resurrection. And that's what we want to drill down in on yesterday. On yesterday, rather, I talked with you about the acronym of Lent. Today, we're going to deal with the power of Lent. The power of Lent. Now, I mentioned it from the very outset that in Philippians, Paul says that he may know him in the power of the resurrection, the fourth chapter of Philippians. I want to know him in the power of the resurrection. But he said, in order to know him in the power of the resurrection, he has to know him in his suffering. Let's go back to Matthew 4:1 as our text. The text to talk, the takeaway, write what the revelation you get in the chat area so others can get it, share it even now. Don't keep it to yourself. Here is the power of Lent because I have to know him in the power of the resurrection. But before I can get the power of the resurrection, I have to know him in the suffering of it all. In Matthew 4:1, we said it on yesterday, we'll say it again today. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After he was there for 40 days and 40 nights, he wanted something to eat. He overcame 4 temptations of Satan. After, notice that the text tells us after. In other words, it was the suffering in the desert that gave him the power to overcome the devil. It was the suffering. Oftentimes we say, when it's suffering, I can't make it. No, that's what gives you the power. So let's walk down this acronym again. L has to do with lean in and learn. We said that you learn, take his yoke upon you and learn of him. Why do I need to learn of him? Because it lightens my life. It lightens my life. The power of the Lent, the power of the resurrection by knowing him in the suffering. Here it is. Here's the E. Let's go and do it again by evaluation. What's the power of the evaluation or self-evaluation? I know myself better than anybody else other than God. Now, Jeremiah did say, the heart is wicked, and who can know it? Yeah, true. That is a true statement. The fact is, second to God, I know me, and I know that there's a sense of power when I know I like that, I can do without that. I should deny myself of that, which is the end. I'm going to deny myself because, God can do more with me when he has more of me. Let me say that again. God can do more with me when he has more of me. He can't have more of me unless I deny myself the things that I want. So the sacrifice that I'm going through causes me to have more power that takes me to the T again. I can then take on more of God, which has to do with grace. Paul said it again. In Corinthians, he says this, my grace is sufficient. Paul says that. He says, when I am weak, when I'm suffering, when I'm going through, when the odds are against me, when I've been shipwrecked, when I've been beaten 29 times plus one, when I have been taken and almost killed by the brethren, when I had to be let over the city gates in a basket to get away from those who are trying to take me out. When all of those things happened, when I was on the island after the shipwreck, snake fastens to my hand. I shake it off. I shook it off. How did I get to all of that power? Through sacrifice and suffering. Back to Paul when he says in Philippians 4 and following, I want to know him in the power of the resurrection, but I got to get there through the suffering of the Lent. Got to get there. That's the only way I can get there. And that's how we're going to get there, through more power as we walk in these next several weeks. I'm going to talk about it every morning manna, but I wanted to drill it home. I hope you go to church. Got a word for you. It's Communion Sunday. Can't miss Sunday at New Life. And I sure enough got a word for you. Do not miss it. I will be ministering into your heart and into your spirit. Share the manna. If it blesses you, bless somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself.